All right, so I am going to start over just because I started the recording. So welcome to our Your DNA Guide booth presentation here at RootsTech 2022. I am Diane Southard. I'm the founder of Your DNA Guide. And I have on the call with us today is Lori, who's one of our coaches in our DNA skills workshop, and she's going to be manning the chat for you. So right now the chat's kind of going by really, really fast, and people are putting in some great fun things about videos that they've watched and things that they've seen as far as our things that they've watched in RootsTech already. I did click record. I plan on putting this up on our YouTube channel. So our YouTube channel has a lot of really fun videos, and Lori's going to throw that link into the chat. So if you are interested in watching the replay of what we talked about today, you can head over to our YouTube channel, and I'll try to get that up there by tonight. Additionally, if you subscribe to our YouTube channel, you will get notifications every time we post a new video. And so that's a really fun way to kind of keep up on what we're doing here at Your DNA Guide as we release new videos about different features of different DNA testing companies and websites, different tips and tricks. So that's a fun way to keep in contact. We also have a newsletter that comes out just once a month, and you can be on that newsletter list, and that will also give you a lot of information about what's going on currently in the DNA genealogy space. Also access to where I may be speaking next, our products, obviously, that are coming out soon, classes that we're enrolling in. So that's a fun way to keep in touch too. So Lori will be putting those two links to our YouTube channel and the newsletter in the chat here periodically, so you can kind of keep up with us if you want to. All right, so let's get started. So I have a poll. So I'm going to put this poll up. It's just 3 questions. So if you can just answer these 3 questions for me, it'll help me guide our conversation today so that I make sure we're hitting and talking about the topics that you think are most important or you're most interested in. So just take a quick second and fill out this poll. Okay, I just saw your question there in the chat. I'm not able to include the chat in the replay, so you will want to download it, and I'll talk about that, and I'll try to remember to remind you at the end of the session to download the chat. So if you're just coming in, we're just filling out a poll, and it's just 3 questions just to get to know you a little bit better, so I know what we want to spend our next 15 minutes talking about. So most of you have had a chance to fill that out already. If you don't get a chance, that's okay. Thank you for coming in. And for Marianne, who I just saw in the chat was interested in signing up for our newsletter, if you missed the link, again, chat's going by pretty fast, you can always go to yourdnaguide.com, and at the very top, there's the newsletter link. You'll also see up there our blog, which has lots of great articles, and you can search our blog for different topics that you might be interested in. So that's always a good place to go, just yourdnaguide.com. And the newsletter link is right there at the top, as well as the blog. All right, so I know I've got lots of you still haven't answered the poll. I'm just going to, for time's sake, I'm just going to end it so we can kind of move on. I'll share the results so far with you, and if you haven't had a chance to answer, you can just kind of fit yourself in here. So I just wanted to know how many of you, this was the first time meeting me, or if you'd seen me lecture before. So it looks like I've got 27% groupies. Hello, everyone that have been following me and supporting me for years. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. It means so much that you're still with me. So thank you for coming. And those of you, 32% of you, a few times have seen me speak. I hope this just creates a lifelong relationship for us. I hope you stick around. And for those of you, I'm excited that 41% of you have never met me before. And I love meeting new people. And this especially makes me miss being in person, where I could look at you in the face and I could ask you your questions, and that would be wonderful. So I do hope that we do get that opportunity at some point in the near future. All right, and then I want to know, have you taken a DNA test? And 2% of you have not, 16% of you did so recently, and 82% of you did so years ago. And number 3, I was just wondering what your goal with DNA is. So a lot of you are wondering kind of which test to take. Maybe some of you who've even tested are wondering if you should take another test. And 45% of you want to find out how you're related to a mystery match. And 72% of you want to find an ancestor, and 8% of you, none of the above. And you were wondering, I was asking you to put that in the chat. Let me just see. Oh, great. Some of you are sharing some success you've had with your DNA in the chat. People are finding ancestors. That's fabulous. That's fabulous. Okay. So to address the question of which test should you take, or if you've already tested, if you should take more tests, Lori's going to put a link in the chat to our blog page that basically summarizes what your choices are for DNA testing in 2022 and some of our advice about what you should or shouldn't do as far as moving forward with the DNA testing plan. So that's a really good resource. We've got a fabulous table on that page that compares different aspects of DNA testing companies. So you'll want to check that out for sure if you are wondering which test to take, or if you've taken one but you're wondering if you should take more. That's a great place to go. Now, speaking of taking more tests, so the cheapest way to gain access to a DNA match list is to not pay for it, right? I mean, free is the cheapest option, okay? So our testing companies have made that possible. So if you've tested, let's say at Ancestry or at 23andMe, you can actually take your data and do what we call transfer, which means you just take it to another company. So your physical sample and all your results stay in the company you originally tested with, but you take this file, it's called raw data, and you can take that with you and you take it to MyHeritage, or you take it to Family Tree DNA. And we do what we call upload that raw DNA file into their system, and you get access to their DNA match list for free. Yeah, I mean, you can't really beat that kind of deal. Okay, so Lori's going to put into the chat how to transfer, but just until March 8th, you can transfer into MyHeritage and gain all of their tools for DNA for free. Okay, so usually you transfer to MyHeritage, you can see your match list for free. That will always be the case, or I shouldn't say that. Right now, that's the case. Okay, they can change their mind anytime they want. But there's tools that they have, like access to those ethnicity results, which are actually really, really good at MyHeritage. Access to the shared matches tool, which is essential in genetic genealogy. And access to a lot of their other tools requires a $29 unlock fee. Okay, so if you don't want to pay that fee, but you want to gain access to MyHeritage and all of their tools, transfer your DNA there before the 8th of March, and you get that for free. All right, so we've got all the instructions on how to do that, how to transfer into these companies on our website. And Lori's putting that in the chat kind of periodically, so you can see that. Additionally, if you sign up for our newsletter, I am sending out a little note in the morning. Actually, I wasn't going to send it to the newsletter list. Let me think of how I can get that to you. But mostly, just pay attention to the chat and download it when we're done, and I'll teach you how to do that as well. Okay, so that's for those of you who have tested or are looking to test, looking to transfer. But many, many of you want to know how to identify a mystery match. Okay, so I've made some slides because I love to make slides, guys. It's like my hobby. And I'm going to show with you just the simple steps to identifying a mystery match. Okay, here we go. Sharing my screen. And moving this thing that gets in the way. Okay, here we go. All right, so if you want to identify a mystery match, you can really do it in 2 steps. Okay, the first step is using the shared matches tool. Now, I just referenced this. You can only get access to the shared matches tool at MyHeritage when you transfer if you pay that unlock fee. And as I'm going to show you, you absolutely have to have this tool. So you have to pay that fee, except for right now because it's free. Okay, so the shared matches tool is available at every company and is the most powerful tool in genetic genealogy. Essentially, it takes you and your mystery match, and it asks the database, show me people that match only me and this match. Okay, so it's like a filter on your entire database that says, show me just the people who match me and this mystery match. Okay, what that does is it creates what we call a genetic network. This is a group of people that share DNA with you and with your mystery match. So theoretically, everybody is kind of related to each other in a similar way. All right, now what can you do with this group? Well, I want you to take a look at it and I want you to identify the known matches in this group, the people you already know your relationship to. So I take my mystery match, I click on shared matches, and I see my brother, my Aunt Myrtle, cousin Kendra, and cousin Carl. These are people I already know my relationship to. Now, if I have a match that's shared with my brother, that doesn't help me decide how I'm related to them because my brother is related to all of the same people I'm related to, right? So your brother, not super helpful. Okay, maybe that's a common characteristic of your brother. Okay, but Aunt Myrtle, on the other hand, Aunt Myrtle is only related on one side of your family. So the fact that this match is related to you in a similar way to Aunt Myrtle tells us something about this match. So initially you didn't know anything about them. Clicking on shared matches, just noticing that Aunt Myrtle is on the list tells you this match is related on your mom's side. Wow, right? That was pretty simple. Okay, now we can keep going because we have other known matches. So other known matches like cousin Kendra and cousin Carl. Cousin Kendra and cousin Carl are related to this section of our tree. That means that this match is also related to this section of our tree. Okay, so just following that simple idea of using that shared matches tool can be really, really helpful in helping you identify how you're related to the other people on your DNA match list. Okay, now you might be thinking, well, that made a lot of sense, Diane, when you were just going through it right now. But when I get home and I'm trying to do it myself and I'm trying to learn how I'm related to this person, I'm just not confident that I can do it, right? So that's where Your DNA Guide, the book, comes in. So I'm going to share my screen again and let me show you just what this looks like. So we have a RootsTech special on the book. And let me get the right screen up here. There we go. So our RootsTech special is 25% off the physical copy of the book for shipping here in the United States. If you are international, you can actually buy it on Amazon as well, but you won't know that I touched it and packaged it because I still can't convince my kids to work for me. And I will send you a bookmark. So it's to your advantage if you're in the US to just buy it from me off our website. But if you are international, you can buy the physical copy on Amazon. This is the ebook that I'm going to show you. And the ebook is fantastic as well, but some people just prefer the physical version. And this ebook, you'll see as we look at it, it's not a book that you read from cover to cover. That's not how this book works. The way this book works is you find your specific research goal. So this is the cover. So if I scroll down to the table of contents, it's all hyperlinked. So all of these are hyperlinked within the ebook. Okay, and you go down here and you choose your research goal. So if you want to find your 2 times great-grandparent, you would click right here on page 36. Okay, but we want to find a mystery match. We want to identify a mystery match. So I'm going to click right here on page 40. Okay, now you would read this top section. And the way the book works is I give you some information and then I ask you a question. So my question is, do you see any mystery matches in this network? I'm sorry. So you use shared matches right here. Maybe I can highlight it. Again, look, so you use shared matches on the mystery match, like I just barely showed you in my presentation, okay? Use shared matches on the mystery match. You've got your list. And now I'm gonna ask you a question about that list. I'm gonna say, do you see any mystery matches in this network who share more DNA with you than this match? So you chose a mystery match, you use shared matches. Now I'm asking you to look at the list. Is there a mystery match on your list who shares more DNA than the one you chose? If your answer is yes, what am I going to tell you? I'm going to say, okay, I want you to switch your research goal. Let's figure out who this first mystery match is who shares more DNA than the one you chose. Let's do that one first because it will be easier. Okay. And if you say, no, this is it. This is the only mystery match on this list that's sharing the most DNA. I say, all right, well, let's move on. And this is my next question for you. Do you see anyone in that shared matches list that you already know your relationship to? We just talked about that, right? Do you see your aunts or cousins or uncles or somebody you already know your relationship to on the list? Okay, now here's what I really like about the book. So I'm going to just take you through this step by step. And I'm going to teach you how to use the information that you find. I'm not just going to leave you with these broad concepts like I have to do when I lecture. When I lecture, I just can't go down all these little paths that each of you are going to go down. It's impossible because you'll all take your own path. Okay, so that's what I love about the book, is it walks you through whichever path you need depending on your situation and research goal. Okay, so now 40-something% of you weren't, well, you probably were still interested in a mystery match, but you want to find an ancestor, right? We are genealogists. We want to build out our family trees. Now, the kind of DNA we've been talking about is autosomal DNA, the kind you get from both sides of your family. If you have a 3 times great-grandparent or closer that you want to find, you can use autosomal DNA to find them. And I'm pretty confident that you can make some serious progress finding that person. Okay, but it involves dividing your entire match list up into groups. So I'm going to throw my presentation up here again. Let's go through a couple more slides here together. All right, here we go. All right, so when I say that you need to divide your match list up into groups, this is what I'm talking about. If you're looking at your family tree, and as long as none of your ancestors are related to each other, then you should be able to divide your entire match list, the whole thing, thousands of people, into 4 groups. One that will represent each of your great-grandparent couples. All right, now you could also, if you wanted to, divide your entire match list up into 8 groups to represent your 2 times greats. Sorry, there's a typo on that slide. It should say 2 times great-grandparents, okay? And this should say 3 times great. Good thing I edited my slides in advance, guys. But 16 groups representing your 3 times great-grandparents. And how do you do this? How do you take your entire match list and divide it up into groups? Again, the process is actually fairly simple at the outset, and it really relies on my favorite genetic genealogy tool, which is the shared matches tool, right? You can take a first cousin on your dad's side and use shared matches, and you can basically gather a group of people that are all related to that side of your family. If you were looking for this starred couple, do you see that star on my slide? If that's the couple you want to research, we essentially have to group your matches. So we find the group of matches that have to do with just this person, just this group, right? So we just continue to use shared matches on our best known matches, people we already know. Your first cousin on your dad's side, your second cousin on your mom's side, your third cousin on your mom's dad's side. By taking known matches, you can divide up your match list into groups and focus on just the group of matches that contain the ancestors that you're looking for. Okay, I call that group leftovers. That after you've grouped all of your matches, you're going to have a group of leftovers. Those are the matches that correspond to the people that you want to find. Okay, now again, you're probably like, that sounds fabulous. I'm sure that I could do that. And I hope that you feel that way at least a little bit, because you can. Okay, but what happens is, again, after you have watched a lecture here at RootsTech, and after you get home and you're trying to apply these principles, you get stuck, right? And you don't have confidence that you've done it correctly. So that's why we started Your DNA Guide, the Academy. So the Academy is essentially full of offerings that teach you how to do this in a way that makes sense. So we call our process, sorry, I'm just resizing my screen here so I can share it with you. We call it the SPIN methodology. So all of our courses and workshops make sure that you study. So we give you stuff to learn, okay? But you're going to practice it. Okay, I'm going to give you a way to practice the concepts you learn. Then you're going to implement it in your own research and take next steps. Okay, so if you wanted to find an ancestor, you can use the book, as I showed you. The book does do this process for you. But what the book is really missing is that practice aspect. It can help you study, it can help you implement, it can give you next steps, but it's missing the practice part, right? So that you can try these things for yourself and see if you get it right. So you know if you've done it correctly in a practice problem, which gives you more confidence to do it on your own. So let me just share my screen again here and share with you. All right, so this is what your DNA Guide DNA Skills Workshop looks like. So this is from our January class, which ended a couple of weeks ago. And we are enrolling for our March DNA Skills Workshop right now. So when you enroll, essentially it's a 6-week course, and you would start here lesson 1 with known matches. This is what we were just talking about. And I would talk to you about the purpose of known matches. And so you would click on this lesson, you would come in here, you'd watch this 10-minute video, and you could read the notes. We have additional resources down here. We also have a transcript for this course. We don't have a transcript for all courses, but we do for this course. We might ask you a little question, and then if you still have questions about what you just watched, you ask it right here in the discussion boards. And you can see down here, these are all of the questions and answers. And Lori, who's on our call today, she's our discussion board master. She will get in there and answer your questions. So you always are confident in what you're learning, because every step of the way, we are there with you answering your questions. Okay, so you can see from the known matches section, the next part is going to be talking about how to create those networks and how to take those networks and identify your best mystery match, the person that is going to help you the very most find the person that you're looking for. How do you look at that match? How do you dive into them? And again, each one of these has a video. It has a discussion section where you can ask your questions and we give our answers. It's all totally interactive. Plus every week we have a live Q&A where you can get online with me and I answer your questions live. We can go over whatever you want to go over from that section of the lesson. And we have a super fun culminating case study at the end where we'll spend 2 hours together going from start to finish, answering a genealogy question that one of my clients had using all of your newfound skills. So it's really fun. So let me just share with you, let me pull up my PowerPoint again here. Let me show you what our workshop looks like. And I've just got to get it up here. See, now this is going to show you the wrong thing. Anyway, it's okay. We'll do it this way. It's fine. It's fine. I'll swap. Okay, there we go. So our DNA Skills Workshop, these are just some feedback that we have, and we have such wonderful experiences every single time. It's so fun. I love, but Melinda just put this in the chat when she was like, this is exactly what I've been looking for. It's step by step. It handles everything just the way that I wanted it to. So as I mentioned, you have 12 hours of recorded instruction. There's that big culminating workshop event. We have digital and physical workbook. Actually, you actually get a swag box, which is around here somewhere. I probably should have brought one out for you. You also get, as part of your course, a one-on-one consultation with a coach. So we have 2 coaches in our DNA Skills Workshop right now. They're both excellent, highly experienced genealogists, and you get a chance to ask them any question you want throughout the entire course, as well as have a live one-on-one session with them where they'll answer your questions. So it's really, we love this program. We love this process. For RootsTech, we're offering $50 off our DNA Skills Workshop. And it is exciting to be able to see everybody enrolling and to be kind of building our next class list. It's really fun. Of course, we do have limited space. We do want it to be a personal learning experience. And so we do sell out usually. So if it's something that you're thinking about, we're not going to offer it for a while. I'm not sure when we're going to offer it again, but we are offering it in March. So I just want to make sure that you're aware that it's not something we're doing all the time. So just be aware of that. And then just for you who've joined me here on this webinar, I'm going to add this bonus. If you decide to sign up for our DNA Skills Workshop, we do have a break week. And during that break week, we don't have a live Q&A. But if you decide that you want to be a part of our March Skills Workshop, I am going to hold a special Q&A during that break week just for people who sign up right now during RootsTech. So again, if you're interested, those live Q&As are really helpful. Even if you can't think of your own question right away, when we start talking, all the questions start coming, and just listening to me coach other people through their question is often answers a question you didn't even know that you had. So having that bonus Q&A time, I think, will be really fun. Actually, I'm not even gonna do that right now because I've already gone over time and I feel bad for whose ever time I'm taking up and I don't even know. There's no one like with a hook, like pulling me off the stage. So anyway, so again, if you want to watch this again, I'm gonna put it up on our YouTube channel. And if you want to stay in touch with us, a great way to do that is to sign up for our newsletter. We also have our booth, obviously, right there, and we've got lots of videos, and our chat is live there in the booth if you just want to pop over there and answer some questions. I'm not going to take any questions right now because, again, I feel responsible to get you off and into your next booth session if you want to attend that. So if you do have questions, Lori and I are going to end this call and we'll head right over to the chat. So join us there. So thank you for coming. Thank you for making RootsTech fun and successful, even though we're not actually physically together. There's so many benefits to being able to be virtual, and I'm glad that you're taking advantage of it. So thank you. Thank you so much, and I'll see you in the chats.
Diane, I'm going to put a couple of things in the chat, and then if you could remember to download it, please.
All right. I'll
just give me a minute. Okay.
Thank you. Good idea. So yes. So if you want to download the chat, what you do is right, like if you were going to enter something into the chat, there's a little smiley face and then there's 3 dots. So if you click on those 3 dots, then it allows you to save that chat to your computer. So if you want to save the chat, go down like you were going to write something in the chat, you'll see the little smiley face and then the 3 dots, and then you can save that to your computer. So I'll just sit here for a second and make sure that you guys have time to do that if you want to. But technically this class is over and I'm supposed to be closing it out. Doesn't work on iPad. I'm not sure how to troubleshoot that for you. I guess if there's anything that you wanted in the chat that you didn't get a chance to save, then just pop over into our Q&A or into our booth and join our chat there and ask whatever it is that you missed. Because I have a copy of the chat, I'll get one automatically, so I can look it up, or if maybe it's something I already know and I won't even have to look it up. So, okay. All right. Okay, looks like most everybody got what they needed and headed out. So I'm going to close out our meeting. And again, thank you again for joining me. See you hopefully sometime in the near future.